What's up YouTube? George, a Silver Hunter back, and today we'll be jumping into a rather large, multi-denominational, customer wrapped hunt. This should be a lot of fun, so let's jump into it. So one of the questions I've been getting a lot lately is, I've been trying to get boxes of coins from the bank, and I just can't get them. Banks won't order coins. No one will talk to me. No one will give me coins. Well, what you see in front of you is actually from 3 different banks that I went to and just asked for customer wrapped coins. And this is what I was able to put together. Now, I do understand that depending on where you live, the region you're in, is it a high traffic area for people, for business, your results are gonna vary. But it's very rare for me to walk into a bank and not be able to walk out at least with a couple 2 or 3 rolls of quarters, 2 or 3 rolls of dimes, 2 or 3 rolls of pennies, 2 or 3 rolls of nickels. Now, a lot of times the banks I go in, they know me now, they know what I'm doing. They're happy to empty their little personal vault if they got $20 or $30 or $40 worth of nickels. And that's how I did this. I built up to this. I didn't walk in on day one and say, I want a bunch of coins, and they handed over everything in the vault. It takes time to work up to this. So if you're brand new to coin roll hunting, start small. See if you can just get a couple of rolls of quarters and a couple of rolls of dimes or whatever, and show that bank that you're going to be a responsible coin roll hunter. So with that said, I do want to jump into this. I'm going to start with the dimes. I'm going to move on to the pennies. We'll then do quarters, and we'll finish with the nickels because it is the largest amount of coin that we have, and I think that'll be the order in which the speed of going through the coins will be easiest. Now, with the dimes, we'll mainly be hunting for silver, which would be any dime 1964 and earlier. I don't really hunt these because there's only a couple of things to find, like the 1996 W. There's a couple of low mintage years. There's a couple of proof reverses, but typically the ones you're going to find are not very valuable. So right now with dimes, I'm just edge hunting for silver. We'll talk more about what we're looking for in the other denominations when we get there, but let me get this mat cleared off and let's jump into these dimes. So I probably should have told you at the top of the video, but we have $95 in dimes, we have $84 in nickels, we have $4 in pennies, and $60 worth of quarters. And we're going to start by getting into these dimes. And I'm going to open up just probably 2 or 3 rolls here on camera, just to see if we get lucky. And I always love when rolls have tape on them, because a lot of times that's what people do. When they've got really valuable rolls, they'll put tape on them to make sure nothing comes out. Now that said, I did check the enders, and I didn't have a single roll, whether it be a nickel roll or a dime roll or a penny roll. Well, I won't say pennies because they would have copper instead of silver. But didn't see any silver, didn't see any buffalo nickels, didn't see anything of the sort. So right now we're just checking these edges, and dimes can be really tricky, so you want to make sure you take your time, look at those dimes in different light, kind of move them around. Like this guy looks a little suspicious, but he's just dirty. There's no way that's silver. That's a 2000 something. But you want to take your time. If they're exceptionally dark, they might just be dirty, they might be burned, but they could also be some really tarnished silver. So that's roll number 1. That's just a 2005. So let's do maybe 2 more rolls here on camera just to keep the speed of the video up. And sorry I'm making a mess with these things. They just don't come out of these wrappers very well. But it does make picking up small batches and looking at them a little bit easier. So nothing in there. Nothing in there. Now, I am desperate to find me some silver dimes. I know a lot of people that swear by dimes. To date, I have only, well, I guess I have found silver in some customer wrapped rolls, but the majority of my silver dimes are actually plucked out of tellers' trays while I'm at the bank. I almost always ask to see those trays while I'm there, and that's where I get the luckiest. Okay, nothing in roll number 2. Let's do one more. I'm going to do this light green roll just because it looks interesting. It's an older style wrapper. Those always get me excited. Let's see here. I am just not seeing it. We got a couple of green ones. 2010. All right, so no silver through 3 rolls. I'll continue hunting this way. And just so you know, I typically do give the dimes a wash just to make sure there's not a proof or something in there before I put them back in the wrappers. So hopefully I'll see you soon. Hopefully we get lucky and find some silver in these dimes. So you guys may not believe this, but I literally, after I did the first 3 rolls on camera, I just opened all the rest of the rolls, and as you can see, there's none left. And the very last roll, I didn't even have room to put on the mat, and look right here. The very last roll I laid out. Let me look real quick. I don't see any others. This does look like it's going to be a dime. Usually our Canadian dimes look a little bit different. Should be 90%, and it is. Look at that. We got a 1954 Denver. So we finally got, at least since I started looking recently, a silver dime. So I did $1,000 in boxes. So 4 $250 boxes with no silver. And right here I just did $95 worth of customer wrapped and came away with 1 silver. So I'll take it. It's our first find of our multi-denominational hunt. Unfortunately, now I have to rewrap all these dimes. So this should be a pretty short little dime hunt. Like I said, we only have $4 worth. I will be looking for any errors or varieties that are in here, as well as I'll be pulling copper, but really we're hoping to just maybe find 1 or 2 little Wheaties. I doubt it, but that's what we'll be looking for. I do have a document, a description of all my coin roll hunts, and in there is a link to a penny mat that is actually very useful for looking for your key dates, your semi-key dates, as well as all of your various penny varieties. And I'll pull that out along with my handy-dandy little scope here, and we'll see what we find in these pennies. We are 2.5 rolls in. I think that's right. 1, 2, 3, 4. We're actually 4 rolls in. And look at that. We found a wheat penny out of just $4 worth of customer wrap pennies. Let's see here. We got a 1953. That's pretty nice. We'll put that up here next to our dime for something to hang on to. And I have gotten a decent amount of copper out of those just first couple 4 rolls, so we'll hang on to that as well and get a weight on the copper value at the end of the video. So I was struggling dumping out the 5th roll of pennies, and I got a little surprised when they all came flying out, and out came this 2008, I don't know how you pronounce that, Erie? It's from Ireland, I do know that, and it is a 10-cent euro piece, so I'm sure that's worth more than a penny. So very next roll, we got another surprise as I was dumping it out. We've got a button. I don't know if it's a fancy button. It doesn't look like it. American Eagle Outfitters, 1977. So I don't know how that got stuffed in there, but I guess we'll call that a miscellaneous, maybe? So our pennies are complete, and honestly, for 8 little rolls of pennies, we kind of had some interesting stuff in there. You know, we did only end up with 1 Wheatie, but I'll be honest, I've gone through an entire box and only found 2 or 3 Wheaties, so 1 in 8 rolls is not so bad. It's a 1953, and it's actually not in too bad a shape. It's pretty dark, it's brown, but I've definitely seen wheat pennies in far worse condition. We did get a 10-cent euro, which is worth way more than a US penny today. We got a pretty cool button, I guess, an American Eagle Outfitter. I don't know what I'm going to do with that, probably just throw it away. I did pull this out to show you guys. It was just a really blingin' 1993D. Considering it was in there with all those brown cents. It was just really, really nice. I'm going to see if it upgrades my book, but just wanted to pull it because it was the nicest penny in the whole thing. And we ended up with 43 copper pennies plus our wheat penny, and I'll put the price of that up on the screen. I use a website called coinapps.com to do that, and it worked out to about $1.16 worth of copper, which I'll hang on to. I also get asked all the time how much copper I have. And I don't know the exact number, but it's somewhere between $100 and $200 in face value in pennies that are all copper, probably closer to $200. And it does take up quite a bit of room. But a lot of this stuff, like I'll put that in my foreign bin, that's going in the garbage. That might go in my book. Those will go in my bin of copper. And we're going to move on to those quarters back there. So here we are with our $60 in quarters. I'm going to go ahead and just open all 6 rolls here on camera and lay them out just in case we find some silver. I'm not hopeful. I've been through thousands of dollars in quarters in the last several months since my last silver, so I'm not holding my breath. But the teller that I did get this from did say that she got a drop recently from someone, and I apparently have educated her too well because she said she has pulled from her change a couple of silver quarters and a couple of silver dimes. So I I got to be fast over at that branch, otherwise she's going to take them all home. But that's okay. I don't mind. They're good to me. They've started taking boxes of $50 back from me, and it was for a long time they wouldn't take them. So I formed a good enough relationship there that, you know, I'll probably take them 2 to 4 boxes a month. I don't want to overwhelm them. They're a smaller branch, but they seem to be happy with that kind of volume. So it's just one more place for me to drop $50. Okay, well, so far I have seen some shiny edges, so we're probably going to see some 2021s and 2022s. There's a green guy, but he's not silver. We might get lucky and see some San Francisco business strikes. I don't know, but tape's always a positive thing. But I'm not seeing any silver. There's a kind of a blingy looking Homestead. We'll check that for an error. Hopefully that's all on camera too. All right, well, I'm not seeing any silver, didn't see any foreigns, so I'm going to go ahead. I'll go off camera and start sorting through these, and if I find any errors or varieties, I'll be sure to bring you in. And maybe if I missed a proof for a San Francisco business strike, we'll bring you in for that too. See you soon. So we're a little more than halfway done with our first roll, and I've already got a coin up there on the scope. It's something we see all the time. It is the 2008 Arizona with the extra cactus. Let's see here, right there. That is a die chip that ends up over the engraver's initials, which are JFM. And it should be a nice little arched line that looks like that. And we have a die chip in there covering up the first 2 initials, or part of the first 2 initials. And for a long time, these were going for maybe $1 or $2, maybe up to $3 on eBay. I haven't looked in a long time. I have probably 2 rolls of these. So I've actually started pitching them back for other coin roll hunters to find. And this one's not exactly in the best shape. Here's the coin, just so you guys can see it. It's not a terrible coin, but I have some in much, much better condition than this with all the ring dings and stuff like that, but we'll call it a find. So we're just a couple of rolls in on roll number 2, and while this isn't officially part of my quarter hunt and album fill series, I did come across a 1969 Philly, and this is one of the coins that I've been looking for. I'll just show you my cheat sheet if you're following that series. But you'll see in that first 1965 to 87 book, I needed that 1969 and 1971. And then we've just got a couple of spots down here in the last 2 books we're trying to fill in. So I'll put a link in the upper right-hand corner for my Hunt and Fill series if you're interested in following it. I am going to go ahead and pull this 1969 aside and get it in the book. It is not a great-looking quarter, so it's going to need an upgrade. But just wanted to call it out because I have been looking for this for the last 2 or 3 boxes, so pretty cool. I'll put it on the board as a find, even though it's just a book filler. And that does it for those 6 little rolls, but honestly, 4 finds out of 6 rolls, not so shabby. Granted, one of them is a book filler, a 1969 Philly. The other 2 were bicentennial quarters. This is the Drummer Boy quarters. A lot of people do collect those. I do hang on to them and make rolls out of them. At least the nicer looking ones, the really ratty ones I throw back. But we did get a Philly and a Denver. And for you new coin roll hunters, make sure you do a little bit of research and learn about that double die obverse here on the bicentennial. It can be pretty darn valuable if you find one. It is on most coin roll hunters' bucket list, and I have never found one. The other one that I did find is a really common error on this 2008 Arizona, and it's that little die chip down there called the extra cactus. But again, 4 little finds out of 6 rolls, not too shabby. Next, though, we're going to move on to all of these nickels. So it is time to get into the last part of this hunt, and this is the $82 or $84, I can't remember exactly how much it was, in customer wrap nickels. Again, like the quarters, not officially part of my Hunt and Fill series, but if I find any really good goodies, like the 2009 Philadelphia, I've been looking for that for like 6 months. If I find one of those, we're definitely going to pull that aside and stick it in the album. But mainly we're going to be looking for a number of the double die reverses, like on the 1939. Anything that's from the 30s, 40s, and 50s will be considered a find. And we're also going to be looking for silver war nickels, which will be your 42 through 45 with the mint mark above the Monticello building. So lots to look for in nickels. Nickels are always a good time. So I'm going to go ahead and jump into these things, and I will bring you in at our first find. Well, I must have wished it into existence because I am on the second roll, and look what I found in the second roll. A 2009 Philadelphia that seriously, it's been months, maybe almost a year, and I haven't come across one of these. It's pretty beat up, but I'm going to put it in my book until I find something nicer. So I'm about 5 rolls in, and if you've ever wondered why some coin roll hunters wear gloves, well, rolls like this are exactly why they wear gloves. This is, I think, my second roll like this out of maybe my first 5. So these are pretty disgusting. Hopefully, I don't run into too many more. I think we're on roll number 8, maybe roll number 9. I've kind of lost count because they're not in a box, and I don't have exactly 50 of them. But we have our first 40s of the hunt. It is a 1940. Let's see, do we have a mint mark? It is a 1940D. So we were on the same roll, actually just a couple of nickels later, and this guy was so badly beaten up I couldn't read it. I had to pick it up and put it under the scope, so I already know what it is. It is a 1945, and you know what that means. It has that pretty mint mark on the back, which means it is a silver war nickel. It has definitely seen much better days. This is an awful, awful example of one, but I'm hanging on to these for the silver. So let's put it up on the board as a find. It goes right up there next to our 1940. All right, well, we are in for some weirdness. I picked this roll up. Again, I don't know, we're 10, 12 rolls in, and it's squishy. Meaning we probably have some pennies or something stuffed in here. And I thought we'd go ahead and weigh it together because it doesn't feel right either. So 200 grams, hopefully that's showing up on camera okay, but 200 grams is what a roll of nickel should weigh. This one weighs 182.1, so we are definitely light something. Let's check it out together here. Okay, we do have nickels. Well, that is just weird. I don't know if you guys can see that. Look at all of those dimes. Who stuffs dimes in a roll of nickels? I mean, normally when you find customer wrapped rolls with people stuffing them, they're stuffing them with pennies, or they put nickels in a quarter roll to make them the right length. Why would you do this? I mean, let me count this up. In dimes, we got 1, let's see, that's 5. That's 10. There's $1 worth of dimes right there. Now keep in mind, a roll of nickels is $2. There's $1.60 in dimes stuffed in here with probably another $1 or so of nickels. This makes no sense at all. While we have them though, let's take a quick look. Do we have any silver? No, we do not. But we're going to put all of these on the board as a find, because they're not supposed to be in the roll. So we got $1.60, 16 dimes. We are 27 rolls from the end, if I can count those up. Maybe you guys can pause it and count it for me, but I think we're 27 from the end. And we have our next find. It's another 40s nickel. It's a 1941 from San Francisco. Look at that. We got a nice little San Francisco mint mark on that guy. I don't know if we need it for our book, but it's not a hunt and fill series. I'll check the book anyway, but maybe it's something I'll hang on to just in case. We have 17 rolls left, and we've come across our next find. This time it's a 1946. Not in bad shape, 1946. Looks like it's a filly. We missed that war nickel by just a year. Couple of nickels later, look at this blingin' coin right here. I don't know if this has been polished by somebody or if this is just natural, but we have a 1959, nearly flawless. Well, okay, the back's not flawless. Looks like it's a filly. And those steps look pretty good. Although we do have a big gouge right through the middle, so probably not full steps, but that's a gorgeous 1959. We're definitely going to hang on to that and see if that can upgrade our book. We are 16 from the end, and I just got this one out that had tape on it, and nothing super special. But as I was laying them out, one caught my eye right here, and it looks like it's our first foreign nickel of the hunt. Let's zoom in on here. Let's see, what do we have? It says it's a 5-cent. I think it's a Bahamian piece. Let's see here. Yep, Commonwealth of the Bahama, 2005, or the Bahamas, 2005. So we got ourselves a little foreign nickel here. It's seen better days, but we'll take it. So same roll, I was actually pushing them together to move them out of the way and put them kind of vertical how I normally do it, and that guy jumped out. So it looks like we might have another foreign in here. We do. This is a Jamaican $5 coin from 1996. Let's see the front here. All right, well there we go. I don't know if I've ever found one of these. I probably have though. But we have two foreigns out of the same roll. Okay, well this is the roll that just won't stop giving. We've now got our third find in the same roll. We have a 1954, looks like a Philly. So first 50s nickel of the hunt. All right, I wish I was making this up. Just further down in that same roll, we have yet another find, this time a 1941. Let's see here. It's tough to say. Looks like we've got some damage over there on the coin. Yeah, that might have been a mint mark at some point, but we've got some coin damage there, so who knows what this is. I'm going to say it was probably a Denver, but something struck the coin and removed that mint mark, so we'll just call it a 1941. Not sure what mint. We're 14 from the end, and we have our next find. This guy popped out, obverse facing. We have a 1956. Let's check it out here. We've got a... Looks like we've got a Denver, and it's seen better days, so it's pretty smashed up there on the back. It's our second 50s of the box. Now, if it were the Philly, we could be looking for a quadruple die reverse or a triple die reverse, but instead, we're just going to put it on the board up there next to our blingin' 59. So we're on roll 13, probably halfway through, maybe a little bit more than that, and this guy has got to be something old. Just looking at the back. Looks like we got a Denver. We got a 1948. We are just 5 rolls from the end, and we've come across another foreign, this time a 1994 Beaver Canadian cent. So that puts us on, what, 3 foreign coins for these 84, I think it was $84 in nickels. Just a couple of nickels later, getting towards the end of that 5th roll, from the end, we've got ourselves a 1951. Looks like a Denver. We'll put it on the board. We are just 3 rolls from the end, and we got a twofer. These guys lined up back to back. We had a 1957 and a 1959. Here in 3 rolls from the end. That 57 is a Denver. This 59, while it's seen better days, is also a Denver. So we'll throw them up here with the rest of the 50s. So we're into the last roll, and it did it to me again. I've got 2 interesting ones. One back here. I understand there is such a thing as a 1979 Black Beauty nickel. I had a video a while back where I found a black dime and asked that same question, and to this day I kind of understand what makes the Black Beauty. I have no idea how you would tell if that's what this is. So if you are watching this video and you know, let me know in the comments down below. This is a 1979 Philly. It is black. It could have been in fire. It could have been in the ground. There's a lot of reasons why this thing could be black. But I know the Black Beauty, it has something to do with the minting process or something to that effect. They got hot during the minting process and they turned black. But that's about as far as I go with it. So I'll put that aside and hang on to it in case one of you guys out there are smarter than me, which is very likely. But the second thing is right here, nickel number 3. And I didn't see anything else as I kind of was putting these things out. But who knows? We might find something else as we go through it. But nickel number 3, we have a buffalo to round out this little hunt of nickels. And let's see here on the front we have, oh, and it's got a date. Look at that. We got a full date, 1934 buffalo nickel. That is awesome. I usually find these things and they are completely wiped clean and I end up having to nicodate them. But this is pretty cool. I do have a buffalo nickel book, and I'm definitely going to check it to see if this 34 is a hole filler. That is really, really cool. So I don't know. I'm just going to set it up here next to the rest of the nickels, along with this Black Beauty, and we'll go ahead and get through the rest of this last roll of nickels, and then we'll come back for the massive wrap-up. So believe it or not, we got through that roll, and the very last nickel left on the table was another one of these really, really nice 1959 nickels. This time we have a Denver. We don't have full steps. They're pretty well worn. But let me show you the other one. We did pull you in for that. I did have a couple other really, really nice nickels that I pulled. I don't remember if I made a clip of it, but I figured if they were book upgrades, I'd grab them and put them aside. But there's that 59 Philly to go with our 59 Denver. So with that, let's get to the full wrap-up. Okay, so here we go for the wrap-up. I'll try to go quick since we've already seen all this during the video, but we are finally off the dime silver skunk. And those $95 worth of dimes, I did end up with a 1954 Denver. So there's a piece of silver for our hunt. Now, the copper pennies that I found, I already put in my copper bin. I had 43 loose copper plus this 1 wheat cent. It came out to like $1.16, $1.15, something like that in copper melt value. But we did have a 1953 Philly. We did find a foreign 10 euro cent from Ireland. And we had a American Eagle Outfitters button. I mean, I know that people that metal detect find buttons. It's not often you find buttons in a roll of pennies, but we had one. For the quarters, we did have one Arizona error that was really common. We had a couple of bicentennials, I believe a Philly and a Denver. And then we had a book filler. I know I said this wasn't part of my hunt and fill series, but I do need this 1969 Philly. So I'm going to go ahead and pop that in the book, and I'll make sure I talk about it in my next hunt and fill series. The real fun part of the hunt, though, was the nickels. We had a ton of finds, and I'm going to try to go through them really, really quickly. We did have 3 foreigns. We had a Bahamian. We had, actually, I think we had a couple of Bahamian coins. Or, I'm sorry, we had a Bahamian, a Jamaican. That's what it was. And we had a Canadian nickel. So, a couple of foreigns there. As far as the individual finds, we had a 40 Philadelphia. We had a 41 Philly. I think this one was a Denver that had just been damaged, and we had a 41S. We did end up with another piece of silver in the hunt, a really, really bad 45 Philadelphia nickel. We had a 46 Philly, 48 Philly, 51 Philly. I'm sorry, these are all Denvers down here. Sorry, that's a 51 Denver, 56 Denver, 57 Denver, and then we had a couple of blingin' 59s, and then one ugly one. We had both a Philly and a Denver. And then in the weirdest stuffed roll story I could find, I had a nickel roll stuffed with $1.60 in dimes. So in that roll, I can't remember exactly what it was, but I had like $1.30 or so, $1.35 in nickels, and then $1.60 in dimes in the same roll. So I actually made like $1, something like that on that roll, because somebody is apparently not sure how to shortchange a roll, but they sure know how to stuff them with extra money. I did pull 2 potential book upgrades, the 69S, which actually is going to be an upgrade for my album, and the 74. I actually have a really nice 74. And oh, by the way, these blingin' 59s, they're not better than the 59s I have in my book, so they'll just go in my pre-60 bin. And then I've been on the hunt for a 2009 Philly for months and months, and it's not a very pretty one, but I am going to go ahead and slot that in my book as well. The last 2 finds I want to cover, if you know more about Black Beauties than I do, please let me know. This 1979 is actually in pretty decent shape. I have no idea if it is a Black Beauty. I did watch a video by Coin Help You. I looked on ArrowRef. I looked at eBay. I looked at a bunch of stuff, and you know, I'm kind of torn. This could very well be one of those annealing errors that is affectionately called a Black Beauty, or it could just be like a metal detector find or something like that. So I'm going to hang on to it. If you know more about this coin than I do, please let me know in the comments down below. But I'll hang on to it for the short term. It's just a nickel. And one of my last finds that I'm really excited about is this 1934 Indian Head nickel. Unfortunately, I already have that spot filled in my book, and it's better than this one. Sorry, just checking out what some of that damage is in there. But anytime you find a buffalo in rolls of nickels, that is pretty cool. And I know throughout this video I called it a box of nickels. It was $82 or $84 worth of customer wrap, but I'm so used to saying a box of coins, so apologies for that. But anyway, that was the big customer wrapped hunt. I know this video might be a little bit long, but it turns out that way when you're doing you know, a couple, 3 or 4 denominations of coins, because there's just so much to look at and so much to find. So if you enjoyed this one, let me know by dropping down below and clicking on that like button. and leaving me a comment. If you're new to the channel and you like coin roll hunts, I have lots of them on the channel. Make sure you click on that subscribe button, click on that little bell and select all so you get notified each and every time I do drop a new video. And I did want to make a shout out for myself. I am doing my 4,000 subscriber giveaway here on February 16th of 2023 at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So I've done a couple of videos that are announcement videos and official comment videos, and I'll release one more before the weekend's up. Today I'm filming this on February 11th. So if you haven't already followed some of the directions and entered some of the giveaways, or you haven't marked your calendar for the live stream, go ahead and do that. So with that said, I hope you guys enjoyed it. Take care, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one.